Good evening, everyone. Welcome back in as we present to you our latest summer edition of the Milford Informer. I am your host, Tim Coet. Again, we have chosen to take in our summer edition of the Informer outside, and we are here at Fino Field, which has been right at the epicenter of Milford events here over the last couple of weeks as the community has geared up to host the 2019 Massachusetts Legion State Tournament. So a lot of excitement has taken place here on this field over the last couple of weeks with some exciting games, and so we are devoting our entire edition of the Milford Informer this week to a comprehensive look through all of the goings-on here at the state tournament. Let's begin first by setting the scene for you with tonight's top stories rundown. Tonight we will give you a comprehensive look at Milford Post 59 as they hosted the 2019 Massachusetts Legion State Tournament. First, you'll hear from three of the players as they reflect on the regular season ahead of the first game of tournament play. And then we will take you through complete highlights of each of Milford's games as they battled their way through the rest of the top teams in the state. We want to set the entire scene for you here at Fino Field, so before we get into recapping how the games have gone so far in this past week, let's take a look back at how things got started. We had an opportunity to talk to three of the longest tenured members of Post 59 prior to their first game back here on July 27th. So let's hear from Matt Shaver, Sam Parker, and Tommy Leone as they discuss this past Legion season and their expectations heading into tournament play. We couldn't ask for a better way to open up the show than to have three of the stars from this year's Milford Post 59 team. We have Matt Shaver, Tommy Leone, and Sam Parker all joining us on the show this morning. So guys, welcome in. How's it going this morning?
Pretty good. How you doing, Tim?
Good. Well, Matt, I guess I'll open up with you, and I feel like this is something that I've been asked a lot over the course of the season. You're sort of representing Milford High School all on your own shoulders this season. You're the lone Milford High representative graduating this past spring. What's that been like for you, being that lone Milford rep on the team?
It has its ups and downs. Being the only Milford kid, I feel like there's some pressure because you're kind of like representing Milford, even though everyone's playing for Post 59. But I don't know, as soon as the Legion team started, it felt like everyone was from Milford. I mean, having everyone back from last year, it's like a big family reunion.
And I guess that's something I can open up to you guys. Tommy, I can toss this one to you. Coach DeVito tells me about that all the time, how you guys, once the season gets started, even though there's players from all different towns involved in this team, you guys seem to gel pretty quickly and turn into one team, really pretty effortlessly. Is that how this season has felt to you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like as soon as we get down here, get a Fino, practice and play, and it's the same routine every day, and everyone just gets used to it. Everyone sort of gels, and that's one of the hardest parts about being a summer team is finding that mix and being able to work together, and I think that our team does a really good job of it, a good job mixing.
And Sam, I want to get you involved in the conversation right away too. You and Tommy are two of the three college representatives on the team this year. How different is that? I know you guys have been on the team for a number of years. Was it a big change this year coming back from the college game and getting back into the flow of things here at the Legion level?
I think the big thing about coming back from college is just sharing the knowledge that you have from college and how they practice and how they do things to the younger kids, because there's a lot of things you can take away from college ball that can be applied here that some high school kids may not know. So I think that's a big thing coming back from college ball. You gotta share the wealth of knowledge that you learn up there.
So again, we're talking here with Matt Shaver, Tommy Leone, and Sam Parker, three of the players that will open up tournament play here later on tonight. The late game on the schedule, they will take on the Quincy Legion team a little bit later on tonight. And so I want to get into kind of the meat of the season, and Matt, I'll turn things back over to you. The season didn't start quite the way that you guys had hoped. You were seriously undermanned in those first couple of games of the season, but once you got rolling with that first victory, you had two really long winning streaks on the season, 10 games and 12 games, those winning streaks going into the playoffs. Tell me about this season overall. I'm sure probably some little ups and downs for the team as a whole, but a really successful season. How did you feel this team performed over the course of that 22-game regular season?
I mean, regardless of the record, I feel like this has been my most memorable baseball season of my career so far. And with the addition of the 4 Hopkinton kids, that always helps bringing some bats in. But even the beginning of the season, we knew we were going to be fine. After dropping the 2 in the beginning, we knew okay, let's just get get some swings in, we'll be fine.
Pitching-wise, even though you had those guys out at positions earlier in the season, pitching was such a strength of this team this year. And Tommy, you were right in the middle of that during the season. It seemed like every guy that went out there, whether it was the starters, whether it was the bullpen, you guys were able to get it done, and guys who could approach hitters in a lot of different ways. Has this been one of the deepest pitching staffs you've been a part of in your career so far?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, throughout high school, it's definitely the most deep pitching staff that I've been a part of, and just having a lot of guys who have experience with the team too. It's been good, like Metcalf, one of the veterans, Ricey, who's been playing great all year. So having guys that have been here, know what it's like to play at Fino, and then being able to pass that on to some of the new guys, good arms like Dom and what else we got? BK, yeah. Some of those new guys who haven't played here but have been great pitchers all throughout high school, just getting them used to what it's like playing under the lights at Fino. And I think that's one of the biggest adjustments you got to make when you're a new player here. So just being able to get those guys acclimated really helps.
And for you, you kind of transitioned to a different role this year. You were more of a starter last season. This year you've been pitching those high leverage innings at the end of games. How has that been for you this year?
Right, yeah, I like it. I mean, it's good to be able to get in, and especially as a guy who's been here before, be able to like come into those pressure situations, and it doesn't shake you too much. And our starters have all been doing a great job, so it's been nice to be able to fit into a better role as a reliever and being able to help out the team in that way.
All right, so 19 wins in the regular season. You then pretty much steamrolled your way through that first part of the playoffs with 3 victories. Matt, how was that early part of the zone playoffs? You had to grind, especially that last game against Sturbridge with the crazy weather delay, but how was that first part of the playoffs for you guys?
I mean, even though we were playing some of the teams we were playing, it's like you gotta win. So we were playing hard sevens all throughout the beginning of the playoffs.
You moved on to the Zone 4 finals where you met up with the Shrewsbury team that's out on the field right now in this early game in the state tournament. And Sam, it seemed like it was a little bit of a different animal for you guys facing Shrewsbury there. You guys had their number pretty well in the regular season. You grinded out that first game. You were able to come back with a walk-off victory against Shrewsbury in the last game of the season. What was different about Shrewsbury in that Zone 4 final?
I think the difference between us and Shrewsbury, especially in the Zone 4 final, had to have been timely hits. I mean, that's one thing about this Shrewsbury team is that they get guys on, they'll move them over to second and third, and then they get them there, they're getting them in no matter what. They get a lot of timely hits. And, we gotta be prepared for that, especially in the field, too, because there were some plays in Game 2 where we could have gotten out of some innings, but we didn't. But, that's just baseball. It happens. But they had a lot of timely hits in the Zone 4 championship, and we didn't. So it's just what it comes down to.
It was a tough way to see that series end with the rain-soaked Game 2. You guys end up losing that game 7-0 just midway through the 5th inning. How tough was it to play in those conditions once the rain started coming?
Yeah, I mean, we knew there was going to be some rain. So as soon as it started coming, it definitely doesn't help. It never helps, especially being down a game, start to rain. The beginning of the game didn't go well. Rain starts coming, morale starts going down, and it's tough. But, it's baseball. We play outside. There's going to be rain. You got to get past that. So,
Tommy, what have the conversations amongst the players, amongst the coaches been like since that loss in the zone finals to kind of reset things and get you ready to go for this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, we talked all season long about, even though how we were hosting the states, we wanted to win the zones, we wanted to win the regular season, and we came up just short in the zones. But now it's time to, refocus. We know what potential we have. And they've known that all along with this team. Going into the year, we knew that we'd be really strong. So just saying, just bounce back. I mean, we took a couple days of rest, got back out, practiced, kept it loose. I mean, I think we were all starting to be taking everything a little too seriously towards the end of the year. And I think we need to just refocus and renew our attention on the state playoffs now.
Sam, if you were to try to pinpoint maybe one key thing that's going to make this team successful going through the next 5 days of this tournament, what would you maybe say that is?
I think we got to play loose, and we say it after every game, no matter it's a win or a loss. We say together, and we really got to take that to heart. If we don't play together throughout all 7 innings of every game we get to play this tournament, we're just not going to be successful. And we play together. We're going to play loose. We're going to have fun, and we're going to put up some runs. So it'll be fun.
And now let's take a look back at Game 1 for Milford in the state tournament. The 2019 state tournament began at Fino Field on July 27th. After a morning and afternoon that saw a series of exciting matchups, it was finally Milford's turn to take the field for the evening matchup against the champion from District 6, Quincy Morissette, Post 294. Milford would face the talented right-hander John McDonald on the mound. In the first inning, Sam Parker would get to McDonald for a 2-out base hit. Parker would then steal second base to place a runner in scoring position with Danny Johnson at the plate, but Johnson would be retired on a ground out to short and Milford would not score in the inning. Meanwhile, it was the lefty ace Jonathan Rice on the mound for Milford. After pitching a scoreless first, Rice would allow a 1-out walk followed by an infield base hit in the top of the second, giving Quincy runners at the corners with 1 out. After Rice retired the next batter on a strikeout, the runner at first, Michael Roach, would look to steal second. Jacob Beater would then take the chance on a pickoff throw down to second base, but the throw was not a good one, and not only would the runner be safe at second, but the runner from third would come in to score to give Quincy a 1-0 lead. From there, base runners would be very hard to come by for Post 294. Rice would finish off the second inning with a 3-pitch strikeout of Zachary Hatfield. He'd then go on to pitch a 1-2-3 third inning, capped off with a strikeout of number 3 hitter Curtis Frazier. Then, after Rice retired the side in order in the fourth, he would continue to mow down the Quincy bats in the fifth, striking out Matthew Tomlinson and Zachary Hatfield as part of his third consecutive 1-2-3 frame. Meanwhile, Milford wouldn't fare much better at the plate against McDonald. After managing just 2 base runners over the first 3 innings, Sam Parker would collect his second hit of the game with 1 out in the fourth. Brendan Kelly and Matt Shaver would then reach on a hit and a walk to load the bases with 2 outs, but McDonald would get Tommy Amberzoni to ground out to end the rally. Then in the 6th inning, Post 59 would have a 2-out base runner ahead of Brendan Kelly. Kelly would lift a pitch out to center field, but Hatfield would run it down for out number 3. It would still be a 1-0 game all the way into the bottom of the 7th inning. The inning would begin with a 4-pitch walk to Matt Shaver, and things would quickly get interesting from there. Shaver leading away from second. The 0-2 pitch is swung on and missed. The ball briefly gets away from the catcher. Now the throw to first base is a bad one, and Beater now down to second base, and he's going to be out at second. A feet-first slide into the second base bag for Jacob Beater as that ball drifted underneath the first baseman's glove, rolled out into shallow right field. A bang-bang play at the second base bag, and unbelievable to see another close play go against Milford. Shaver a lead away from third base. Here's the 1-1 pitch. It's a sinking line drive out to right field. A diving play from Parsons. He can't get there. It gets away from him. Shaver comes in to score. Brunt ends up at second base with a 2-out RBI double that ties this game at 1. And these fans erupt. The Milford players spill out of the dugout. A clutch 2-out hit from Chris Brunt. A 1-ball, no-strike count. Here comes the next pitch. It's lined back up the middle, and that's going to sneak through out into center field. They'll wave Chris Brunt to the plate. The throw is not going to get there in time, and Milford, Post 59, will walk off with the 2-1 victory here on day 1 of the state tournament. Unbelievable here in the 7th inning. Quincy 1 out away from victory. Brunt ties the game with a double, and then Ben McKenzie with a roller back up the middle. It sneaks through for a hit, and Brunt scores. And Milford putting these fans right on the brink here at Fino Field tonight, but they come through when it matters most. And Post 59 with a walk-off victory in the state tournament. The road would not get any easier for Post 59, however. On night 2 of the tournament, they would end up facing off against a very tough, resurgent Lawrence team, a team that had been down and out just a couple of years ago. They were forced to sit out a season of Legion play in 2017 due to a lack of interest in their program. But a new coaching staff and a new perspective over there in Lawrence quickly regained some momentum for that Legion program and ended up earning them a district title and an opportunity to take on Milford in a winner's bracket game on night 2 of the tournament. It was on to the winners portion of the bracket for Post 59 on day 2 of the tournament. Milford would once again play the late evening game on the schedule, and they would face off against the District 10 champion Lawrence. Lawrence impressed with their pitching and defense in Game 1, defeating Somerset 3-0, but Milford would be presented with a golden opportunity to strike for some early offense against Lawrence in this game. 1-ball, no-strike count. And now Johnson with a drive out to center field. In at first was Batista, now backing up, and it's going to glance off his glove. It's boxed around out in deep center field, and Johnson will rumble down to second base, and he is there in scoring position to lead off the bottom of the second. As now Kelly stands in. And Kelly swings at the first pitch, drives it out to right field. That's down for a base hit. They'll wave Johnson around from third base. Now a late stop sign thrown up from Coach DeVito as Kelly will slide into second base. The throw came in to the plate. It was a wise decision to hold Johnson up at third, but meanwhile Kelly able to advance to second. And Milford now with something brewing here in inning number 2 with 2 in scoring position and nobody out. It would continue to get dicey for Lawrence starter Josias Mendez from there, as he would walk Matt Shaver to give post 59 a bases-loaded no-out opportunity. Mendez would battle back to strike out Tommy Ambrosoni and then Jacob Beater, leaving the inning up to one of Milford's Game 1 heroes, Chris Brunt. And here comes the 1-2 pitch, and a line drive out to left center field. On comes the left fielder, a diving play, and the catch is made by Luis Colon. He laid out in shallow left center field, robs Chris Brunt of the hit, and Lawrence able to escape the bottom of the second inning with no runs scored. Robbery out in left field for Colon. After that major squander for Milford early, starting pitcher Brendan Kelly would do his best to hold the Lawrence hitters in check. After stranding a runner in the first, Kelly would retire the side in order in the second, finishing off the frame with a strikeout of John Batista. Kelly would then open the third inning by striking out Luis Colon and Brian Guerrero back-to-back as part of his second consecutive 1-2-3 inning. After being held down early, the Lawrence hitters would start to make adjustments as they faced Kelly in the fourth. As we now begin the second inning, a floater out over the glove of Steven Simos just to the right of the second base bag, and it is Anibal Pena, first pitch swinging, who collects just the second hit for Lawrence of the game. Kelly now with a 2-2 pitch, and it's a dribbler over to the right side. Tough hop for Simos. That's going to get by him. Here comes the runner around from third base. He will score. And Lawrence is going to take a 1-0 lead on a gift base hit for Luis Mejia. As Kelly fires into the plate, and this is a drive out to left field. This is over Parker's head. Trouble. That's a fair ball. All the way down into the left field corner. No problem for Mejia to come around to score. The throw gets away from the cutoff man. Now on to third base goes Verona. Here comes the throw, and not in time at third base. Does not go as this pitch is sent in the air out to right center field. This should be deep enough for the run to score. McKenzie able to make the catch. He'll send the throw into the cutoff man as Christian Verona tagging at third base. He will score. And it is now a 3-0 Lawrence lead. Kelly would face 7 batters in that fourth inning, allowing 3 big runs to give Lawrence control of the game. After that tough inning, Kelly would return to form, retiring 8 batters in a row until Ivanson Batista would reach on a leadoff double to open the 7th inning. 2 batters later, Luis Colon would drive Batista home as an insurance run, giving Lawrence a 4-0 lead heading into the bottom of the 7th. Meanwhile, Milford had done absolutely nothing against Josias Mendez through the middle innings. After wriggling out of that bases-loaded jam, Mendez would retire the next 11 batters in a row and 15 out of 16. Just as they did on night 1, Milford's offense would attempt to mount a dramatic 7th inning comeback. Brendan Kelly would lead off the frame with a solid stroke out to left center that would drop for a leadoff 2-base hit. Next batter Matt Shaver would then hit a slow grounder to the right side. Kelly was confident he could advance to third safely on the play, but first baseman Christian Verona would fire a strike across the diamond, and Lawrence would cut down Kelly at third to record the first out of the inning. An error at second would allow Milford to place 2 on with only 1 out, but the rally would fizzle from there as Mendez would get pinch hitter Jonathan Rice and then Chris Brunt on consecutive flyouts to center to end the ball game. The District 10 champs would deal the host team their first loss in the tournament as Milford would fall to Lawrence by a final score of 4-0. Now, of course, we've been talking about Shrewsbury all along on the show here tonight, and for good reason. After Shrewsbury lost their first game of the tournament, they were able to rebound with a 4-0 victory on day 2 against Greenfield, the representative of districts 1, 2, and 3. So Shrewsbury and Milford were both able to play on to day 3, and ultimately they would lock up head-to-head here on day 3 of the tournament. So we saw a Zone 4 rivalry, arguably the best rivalry in Zone 4, play out here on the state tournament stage, and it was an exciting game from start to finish. So let's go back to the highlights to show you the 5th matchup of 2019 between Milford Post 59 and Shrewsbury Post 397. Day 3 of the state tournament not only brought us an elimination game for Post 59, but it also brought us the 5th installment in the storied rivalry of Milford versus Shrewsbury. Each team had taken 2 of the first 4 meetings, so this matchup would be for bragging rights in the season series. After struggling to generate much of any offense through the first 2 days of the tournament, Milford would look to get something going right away in the first inning against Shrewsbury's John West.
Walked 3 times, and now smacks one back up the middle, and boxed around by the shortstop Ryan Conan, and he will have no play. So officially 1 for 3 last night with a double, and now he smacks one through the right side of the infield for a base hit. And late getting to it out in right field was Tyler Hopping, and that allows McKenzie to keep on going to third base. West now into the windup. Here's his 2-2 pitch, and Parker will send it softly to second. It glances off the glove of right. Everyone is going to be safe, and in from third comes Ben McKenzie to score. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and it's smacked back up the middle, through for a base hit. 1 run will score as Simos crosses the plate. They will hold up Sam Parker at third. An RBI base hit for Brendan Kelly will now make it a 2-0 lead for Post 59.
Milford would quickly be gifted an opportunity to add on to their lead in the second, after Matt Shaver reached on the 3rd Shrewsbury error and Tommy Ambrosoni was hit by a pitch. West would walk Chris Brunt to load the bases with nobody out. After Ben McKenzie was retired, Steven Simos would drive in Milford's 3rd run on a sacrifice fly, and then with 2 outs, Sam Parker would come to the plate looking to deliver a big blow.
Here comes the 1-0, and it's sent in the air out to center field. Racing after it is Morguera. It's going to be over his head, and it rolls off into deep center field. Ambrosoni scores. Here comes a second run to the plate. Chris Brunt will score without a throw. It is a 2-run double with 2 outs in the inning for Sam Parker, and Milford able to up the lead to 5-0.
Meanwhile, it was the 3-year veteran Alex Gunfriday who was tasked with holding down the powerful Shrewsbury offense. In the first inning, Alex would pitch around a 2-out single, ending the inning with a strikeout of slugger Matt Livingston. Shrewsbury would place another runner on base in the second, but Gunfriday would shut down the inning without allowing that runner to advance. After falling into that early 5-0 deficit, Shrewsbury would look to get back in the game in the third. Ryan Conant, Sean Bunton, and TJ Morguera would all single to open the inning, with Morguera driving home the first Shrewsbury run. With 2 on, nobody out, and the middle of the order bats coming to the plate, it looked as if we were on the verge of a major momentum swing.
Friday about to come home with a 1-2 pitch. Here it is. And it's driven in the air to shortstop. The catch made by Brunt. He's able to fire to second for the out. They try for the triple play, and just back to the first base bag is TJ Morguera. That was a whisker away from a triple play.
After that double play, Gunfriday was able to strike out Livingston to escape the third inning with just 1 run allowed. Milford would then continue to tack on to their lead through the middle innings. Ben McKenzie would drive in a run with a single in the bottom of the third. Then after a bases-loaded walk made it 7-1, Post 59 would add 1 more additional run thanks to a balk by reliever Cam Troyo in the 5th to make it an 8-1 Post 59 lead. Shrewsbury's next best shot to get back in the game came in the 4th inning as they loaded the bases with 2 outs against Gunfriday. But the lefty would battle back to strike out Sean Bunton to strand all 3 runners. After Gunfriday pitched 6 innings of 1-run ball, Dominic DiCarlo would take over for the 7th. DiCarlo would yield a run in the inning on a sac fly from Morguera, but he would get through the inning from there, ending it on a flyout off the bat of pinch hitter Mike Bonolo. Milford ends up earning a bit of revenge for their zone finals loss as they defeat Shrewsbury by a final score of 8-2. Shrewsbury gets eliminated from the tournament while Milford plays on to day 4.
Milford eliminates their big Zone 4 rival from the state tournament, and that allowed Milford to serve as one of the final 4 teams remaining in the state tournament field. It would be Milford, Sandwich, Ashland, and Lawrence that would move on to the second to last day of tournament play. Milford would then face off against a tough Sandwich Post 188 team on day 4 of the tournament. They would be the early game on the schedule, and Sandwich had displayed very strong pitching and sound defense throughout the entire tournament to that point, so Milford knew they had to be on their A game as they faced off against a very tough opponent from District 10 in Sandwich Post 188.
Day 4 of the state tournament brought with it sweltering temperatures at the field. Milford would look to manage the heat as they entered into another elimination game, this time against Sandwich Post 188.
it would be Justin Metcalf who would be on the mound for Post 59. Justin would struggle early with the Sandwich hitters. With 2 on and 1 out in the first, John Trapia would single to drive home the first run of the day. 2 batters later, Mike Petit would cap off the first inning rally with a double down the left field line, bringing in another run to make it a fast 2-0 Sandwich lead. Milford would have the chance to make an immediate response in the bottom of the inning. Ben McKenzie would start things off with a shot out to right center that would go as his 14th double of the season. Simos and Parker would follow up with an infield hit and a walk to load the bases with no outs. 2 batters later, Brendan Kelly would work a bases-loaded walk to force in the first Milford run of the inning. Then Matt Shaver would end up reaching on a fielder's choice play that would allow a second run to cross the plate to tie the game at 2. In the top of the second, Sandwich would put their leadoff man on base thanks to an error at third base. Justin Metcalf would then settle back down to strike out number 9 hitter Zach Landry and leadoff man Chris Perito, but with 2 outs, Cam Scheuer would connect on a base hit to drive in another run to give Sandwich the lead back. Milford would answer right back again in their half of the inning. With 1 out, Chris Brunt would leg out an infield base hit. Then after a balk placed him in scoring position, Ben McKenzie would drive Brunt home on his second hit of the day, and the game would be knotted back up now at 3-3. After Sandwich vaulted in front yet again after driving in a run off the Milford bullpen, Post 59 would refuse to relent as they came back to the plate in the bottom of the third. And it's on a line out to right field for a base hit. Here comes Shaver to score. They will hold up Ambrosoni at third base. So Chris Brunt comes through with a 2-out RBI single, and once again we are tied. Another payoff pitch upcoming. Here it is, and it is taken outside for ball 4. McKenzie works the walk, and in from third base to score comes Tommy Ambrosoni, and for the first time in this game, Milford takes the lead. After a quiet 4th inning, Milford would send hard-throwing reliever Nick Kazarian to the hill. After Kazarian allowed the first 2 batters of the inning to reach, we'd see a key at-bat in the game from Sandwich shortstop Nate Coleman. Looking for his first hit, and sends one on the ground, and that's going to sneak underneath the glove of Brendan Kelly for a hit. 1 run comes in to score, a second run racing around from second base. And that ball that one-hopped just underneath the glove of Brendan Kelly ends up resulting in 2 runs scoring, and a quick swing of momentum gives Sandwich the lead back. It is now 6-5. Milford would have an excellent chance to respond as the game shifted to the 6th. McKenzie would reach on his 3rd hit before Steven Simos would walk, putting the tying and go-ahead runs on base with no outs in the inning. After a pop-up by Sam Parker, Milford would look to make something happen on the bases, attempting a double steal, but Sandwich catcher Jacob Lapp would send a strong throw to third in time to catch McKenzie for out number 2, and Milford would ultimately fail to score in the inning. Then, with the season down to its final 3 outs, we would sadly see no 7th inning comeback this time for Post 59, as Sandwich reliever Joe Dorman would retire the side in order to bring an end to the game. Milford falls to Sandwich by a final score of 6-5, and Post 59's run in the 2019 state tournament would officially come to an end.
What an exciting season it was. Some great offensive moments, some terrific pitching performances, clutch defense, and a lot of exciting victories and some great memories forged here on Fino Field, ultimately ending just a little bit shy of their goal, hoping for a state tournament. But it was a great run for Post 59, so we congratulate the team and we congratulate the coaches on a terrific 2019 season that sadly came to an end here this week. So that will wrap up our coverage of Post 59 for the season. A great tournament hosted here once again at Fino Field. Hopefully it won't be the last time that the state tournament is hosted here. It's certainly a terrific venue for this tournament to play out. And so that will again wrap up our coverage of Post 59 for the season, and it also wraps up this edition of the Milford Informer. In a couple of weeks we'll be back with another summer edition where we'll start to get back in touch with some of the other events going on here in the Milford community. But until then, from all of us here at Milford TV, this is Tim Coet saying have a great week. So long, everybody.